Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike, and I'm back, and we're going to talk about the electric Hummer. The electric Hummer. And no, that is not the latest dance move to hit the floors in the clubs. This, believe it or not, is something that GM feels the world needs. Hey, guys, thanks for joining me today. I want to talk a little bit about this announcement that kind of hit the streets, if you will, on the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal had an article about 10 days ago or so talking about GM is bringing the Hummer back. And it was like an announcement. You know, a lot of people treat it like an official announcement. In fact, there were all these videos and these knuckleheads on YouTube, you know, rejoicing in the streets that, alas, you know, General Motors and the boys from Michigan are going to kill the Cybertruck, this abomination upon the face of God's great, gentle earth. So I want to talk about that today because I don't agree. I don't agree that they're going to kill the Cybertruck. I think the Cybertruck has put the fear of God in General Motors, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Before we get to that, I want to talk about this so-called announcement. People are treating this like it's an official announcement. It's just really interesting. If you read the article and if you kind of just open your eyes a little bit, you realize that there's not a whole lot official going on here. In fact, let's jump over to the Wall Street article. I just want to read the first couple paragraphs because I think you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's check it out. General Motors Company is resurrecting the Hummer name on an all-electric pickup truck to be sold under the GMC brand, according to people familiar with the matter, reviving a once popular yet controversial badge that was phased out a decade ago. GM has enlisted NBA superstar LeBron James to promote Hummer's return, including a plan to air a commercial during the Super Bowl next month, said one of these people and another person with knowledge of the advertising plans. The new Hummer model, which is expected to go on sale by early 2022, is likely to be sold in small volumes as a rugged, Jeep-like pickup truck for off-road enthusiasts, said people briefed on the strategy. And the piece just goes on and on. It's like, who are these people? Who are these people familiar with the strategy, briefed on the strategy, close to the matter? So here's the thing. This does not, to me, read like an official announcement, yet people are treating it like an official announcement. Now, look, I think it's real. I don't think that this is fake. I don't think it's a head juke. I think there's a little bit of statecraft going on here, but I don't think that this is a fake deal. But I think it's notable. I think it's interesting. And I think we should pay attention to the fact that, you know, GM has not come out with official announcement. I can't find one. I looked on their website. I've looked all over. No one seems to have an official announcement from GM. There's no press release that I can find. Clearly, this article from the Wall Street Journal is not from a press release. This is leaked information. Someone told someone. Now, I think that this is a sanctioned leak. I don't think that someone got the juice and they're kind of breaking a story. I think that GM wants people to know about this. Why would they do it this way? Why wouldn't they just make the official announcement? And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I will say, shame on you, Wall Street Journal, for running a piece like this. You know, this is $1,000 a year subscription. You're like $250 a quarter so that people can read articles like this where it's like someone told someone that maybe GM, it's just ridiculous. So here's what's going to happen. It sounds like GM's going to release the Hummer. They're not bringing back the whole brand. You're not going to be able to get that classic gas guzzler that you love so bad. It's going to be strictly the Hummer badge, a name applied to probably a Hummer-like truck that's going to be all electric. And that's going to live under the GMC brand. It's not going to be a standalone brand like Hummer used to be. It's going to be the GMC Hummer, you know, and you're going to love it. You're going to buy it and love it and drive it. I love the fact, too, that they bring out LeBron James like, you know, oh, my gosh, I wasn't going to buy one until I heard that LeBron James is going to promote it on the Super Bowl. Now I'm in. Where do I buy one? So let's talk about this a little bit. Why is GM rather doing this? Why are they supposedly bringing back Hummer as an electric brand vehicle? And what is the plan here? Is this really about Cybertruck or not? I think GM has been struggling with electric. I mean, they had the Chevy Volt back in the day. My goodness, was that a terrible car. Everything about that vehicle was wrong. I never drove one, but I just, you know, style-wise and everything, it didn't grab me. Who cares? I mean, it's not always about that. But the way that they branded it, the way that they marketed it, the way that they positioned it, the way that they advertised it, and then the build quality wasn't good. I knew somebody with a Volt, and the thing was a nightmare. He regretted ever buying it. I wonder if the man at times considered taking his own life over the headaches that this Volt, he just couldn't get rid of it quick enough. And the whole experience was just horrible. And I've said before, it's not really the product, it's the experience. The experience is the product. If the experience isn't good, the product isn't good. And so, they've tried some things with electric. I don't think they've done so well with electric technology. Now, here's a thing that you got to understand about GM. And that is that 70% of General Motors sales, 70% of their revenues come from trucks and SUVs. I mean, let that sink in. And that's not outrageous. The truck and SUV market is massive in America. It's massive. But for GM, like the majority, like a huge majority of their revenue comes from trucks and SUVs. Trucks and SUVs, I mean, that's their bread and butter. And I think companies like GM can get fat and sassy. They did in the past. And when we had the economic crisis, we, the people, had to jump in there and bail them out because they were too big to fail. General Motors kind of has been struggling for many decades to figure out their pathway. They got bailed out, and then they did a good job. They kind of did a good comeback. They started becoming profitable. They paid that money back, supposedly. I don't know. I never got a check. I know I sent some checks into Washington, but nobody ever said, hey, thanks for your help. Here's a dividend. If you've got 70% of your sales coming from the truck market and you've been kind of fat and sassy and you dominate in many ways, what happens when you're struggling with electric technology and you kind of think that electric is the future, but not a near future, that it's way out there and that electric technology really is for a small segment of the market? What happens when the Cybertruck comes out and the response by the world is crazy like it was? What happens when you watch Elon rack up over 250,000 pre-orders? What happens when a guy like Elon Musk gets up and breaks a few windows? I know, he did it on purpose. Thank you. Leave a comment below. What happens when you witness that and laugh to yourself and think this thing's a failure, and the guy gets 250,000 pre-orders with a $100 deposit like that within days? What happens when all kinds of people, young, old, working, retired, professionals, blue-collar workers, I mean, people just from all walks of life, truck drivers, non-truck drivers, just people that do and live in so many different ways, all say, I want a piece of that. I want a Cybertruck. Dude, in my original Cybertruck video, link over here, you can check it out if you haven't seen it before. The comments are so eye-opening. That right there is a marketing researcher's dream. There's just so much information to read. The different kinds of people that want a piece of the Cybertruck, that can envision it fitting into their lives. You wouldn't think something so bizarre, so strange looking, so out there would resonate with so many different kinds of people, but it does. And a lot of people hate it too, and that's fine. So if I'm GM and I'm resting on my laurels and I've got 70% of my revenue coming from diesel and petroleum-powered trucks and SUVs, and Cybertruck comes out and the world goes nuts and they want a piece of it, I think I'm worried. All of a sudden, I'm paying attention to the Rivian. All of a sudden, I'm paying attention to the Ford crossover, the Mustang. Can I just say, it's like Ford can't do enough bad to the Mustang brand. It just can't do enough wrong to it. I mean, for decades, Ford has just been... there's been a few years where the Mustang's been kind of cool lately, but really an electric crossover is a Mustang? I don't get it. There was no other name you could come up with, no other brand you could leverage. It's got to be the Mustang. I just think that Ford doesn't care. Ford's supposedly working on an electric F-150. You've got all these other kinds of vehicles out there, and I think all of a sudden GMC realized we've got to take electric seriously and we've got to do something. Now, back in October, they announced that they're going to put, I want to say $3 billion into electric battery factory in Ohio. So they've been making some noise there. I think they also are saying that this electric Hummer is going to be produced in their Detroit Hamtramck plant. I think that's how you say it. So they're going to be devoting that plant, kind of retooling it, devoting it to electric and to the Hummer model. But I think what's going on here is they're trying to capture attention. They're trying to say, hey, look, we're relevant. So what can we do to kind of push back on the fervor and the excitement and the market segment that the Cybertruck captured? The Cybertruck's out there. It's larger than life. It's bold. It's It's dynamic, it's aggressive, etc. Some people hate it, some people love it. It just forces you to react to it. Now, I think GM's looking at the Hummer and go, well, the Hummer's like that. The Hummer was huge back in the day. There was nothing else like it on the streets. People either loved it or they hated it. It was larger than life. You couldn't ignore it. But I think that was back 10, 15, 20 years ago. I don't know that the Hummer has that same gravitas. I don't know that it has the same panache that it used to have. If you look at trucks today, look at the Jeep. Look at that styling. Look at the way that thing looks and feels. It's picked up a lot of its cues from the old Hummer. Look at the grille, the lights, the fenders, the wheel flares. I mean, it's got this really big, masculine, chunky feel to it. Well, it didn't look like that back in the day. It's got kind of that Hummer-esque feel. You've got things like the GMC Denali. I mean, I'm not saying that looks like a Hummer, but it's massive. The Cadillac Escalade. And these are massive vehicles that don't shrink next to a Hummer. You park these things next to a Hummer and you're like, yeah, I mean, these are all big vehicles. So I feel like the market has kind of caught up to what Hummer used to occupy on its own, was this massive, bigger than life vehicle. So they want to roll it out, and I think they're trying to capture some of that old gravitas, that old panache. They're going to leverage that brand. They're going to make an announcement. They're going to get some celebs like King James out there. He's going to do a Super Bowl ad. I mean, that's just like classic old school. I just feel like GM doesn't get it. They don't get it. This isn't how you do it anymore. Yeah, you can make a splash. You can get big endorsements. You can get Super Bowl ads. But this is what people do that are trying to overcompensate. The old days, that was the way you did it. There were no other options. The big boys, that's how they played. Nowadays, this is how the big boys behave when they're losing. This is how the big boys behave when they don't know a way forward. They don't understand the terrain that they are finding themselves in. They're a little bit lost. And so I don't think that this is a spoof. I don't think it's a fake. I think it's real, but I think it is GM trying to buy time. They're trying to find a way to buy time. Now, some people are arguing this is focused on the Cybertruck. I don't agree. I think this is a reaction to the Cybertruck, but I don't think they're thinking they can steal sales away from Cybertruck. I just think they're trying to show they're relevant, and I think they're trying to buy some time until they can figure out an electric strategy, an electric technology that's really going to work for them in the future, because all of a sudden the world's ready for electric and they thought they had more time and they just weren't dealing with it because they were getting all these sales from petroleum-powered trucks and SUVs. Now, there's another article out there. Actually, I was quoted in this article by a phenomenal journalist because, of course, any journalist that calls me, any writer, author that calls me marketing expert and then quotes me accurately and then takes my concept of delivering the future today, well, that's an excellent journalist. That's probably a Pulitzer Prize worthy journalist. But anyway, I will post a link to that in the description, but it was on Fossbytes. It was an article, and this guy is making the argument that, this is really more aimed at the Rivian than it is the Cybertruck. You can check that article out, kind of interesting. And I just get a quick mention, but I just thought I'd have a little fun with that. But there's some different thoughts on this. Guys, I'd like to know, what are your thoughts? What do you think about the GM electric Hummer? Is this something you'd be interested in? Do you believe it? Do you think this is for real? Do you think they're going to deliver it in 2022? And do you think that this is a threat to Elon? I don't. You've heard my piece on it, but I'd like to hear yours. Throw a comment down below. Give me that sweet, sweet thumbs up. I need that sweet, sweet thumbs up love. And the reason I need that is it tells the algorithm that, holy smokes, this is content that other people need to see. So guys, thank you for your time. I love you all, and I'm going to catch you in the next video.